Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om Dhyayamo Dhavalavagunthanavatim Tejomayim Naishtikim Snigdhapangavilokinim Bhagavatim Mandasmitashrimukhim Vatsalyamritavarshinim Sumadhuram Sankirtanalapinim Syamangim Madhusikta Suktim Amritanandatmikam Ishwari Om Amriteshwaryai Namah Om Amriteshwaryai Namah Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Let's continue with our discussion on Hanuman Chalisa. The last week we discussed the first Doha, the Prelude verses, the couplet, and we discussed the first part of it. We discussed Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nijman Mukur Sudhari. First, paying obeisance to the Guru, to the Sadguru, the spiritual master, praying that the dust in your feet, with that it is so precious, even the dust in your feet is so precious. With that, I would like to clean or cleanse the mirror of my mind. The mirror of my mind is covered with my ego, the filth of my ego, and I would want to cleanse it with your the dust in your feet. And Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nijmanu Mukur Sudhari. So with the holy dust, I would like to cleanse my mind, the mirror of my mind, and then Baranau Raghubari Bimal Jas Jodayak Phalichari. Then I describe or praise Lord Rama, Raghubar, whose Jasu, whose Yash, whose Yasha, whose glory is untainted, and one who provides me with 4 fruits. And we discussed about the 4 fruits being Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We could desire for any of these. Any of these that we desire is provided to us. And we stopped with that. We'll move on to the next 2 lines, which we kind of discussed the pronunciation the last week, but we didn't look into the meaning per se, or the elaboration per se. So today we look into Buddhihina tanu janike Sumiro pavan kumar Bal buddhi vidya dehu mohi Harahu kales bikar. Just before we get into this, I just wanted to make a small correction from the last week that we discussed. I mentioned about the various forms of Ramayana, and I discussed about Adhyatma Ramayana, the Malayalam form of Ramayana, which is very regularly chanted during the month of Karkada, or Karkadaka, some people mention it that way. I mentioned it is towards the end of the year, rather it's towards the second half of the year, beginning of the second half of the year. It'll be somewhere from July to August rather than the very end of the year. So I just wanted to make that correction. So moving on to Buddhihina tanujanike Sumira Pavana Kumar Bal Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kales Bikar. We did look into the pronunciation the last week, but we'll just do it once more. As I had mentioned the last week, we'll not go into word by word pronunciation given it is Avidhi. I myself am not very too adept in the language of Awadhi, and this all the language as such has a few clash with how we would pronounce things in Sanskrit. So I didn't want to create that confusion wherein we move on to another Sanskrit text after this. So we'll just go line by line. I'll pronounce it. Please respond after me. We have it on Buddhiheen Tanu Janike. Buddhiheen Tanu Janike. Sumiro Pavan Kumar. Sumiro Pavan Kumar. Bal Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi. Bal Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi. Harahu Kales Bikar. Harahu Kales Bikar. So the second part of the prelude, the Doha, it begins with Buddhihina Tanujanike. So we began with worshipping the Guru, then remembering Lord Rama and praising Lord Rama for the 4 forms of fruits or boons that he provides. Then we move on to worshipping Lord Hanuman. Lord Hanuman is the deity in focus as long as Hanuman Chalisa is concerned. But before we worship Lord Hanuman, we are just reminding ourselves of a fact. What is it? Buddhihina Tanu Janike. Buddhihina Tanu. Buddhi, intellect or wisdom. Hina, lack of it. Sans. So Buddhihina. Sans, intellect. What is sans intellect? Tanu, the body. The body as such is sans wisdom. Janike, understanding that. So understanding that the body as such on its own is basically inert in nature. Understanding that, I Sumiro Pavanakumar. Sumiro, I remember, in remembrance. Be in remembrance. Who? Pavanakumar. Pavan, the wind god. Kumar, the son of wind god. I remember Lord Hanuman. First understanding that this body alone, if I think about it, it is inert in nature. So realizing the soul within me, which brings the body to life, brings meaning to life, I bow or I remember Lord Hanuman. Bal Buddhi Vidya. Bal Buddhi Vidya. Bal, strength. Buddhi, wisdom. Vidya, knowledge. Dehu Mohi. Dehu, please bestow upon me. Give me, provide me. Mohi, provide me. Harahu, annihilate or destroy or let me get rid of. What? Kalesa Bikar. Kalesa, in Sanskrit we would pronounce it as klesha. Klesha, conflict. Bikar, in Sanskrit would be vikara. Vikara, qualities or tendencies. Tendencies that are conflicting in nature. Help me get rid of them. Is what we are praying to Lord Hanuman. Buddhihina Tanujanike. Sumira Pavan Kumar. Bal Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi. Harahu Kales Bikar. Humbled, realizing that this body lacks wisdom. The body is inert in nature. I pray to Lord Hanuman to bless me with what? With strength, wisdom and knowledge, and cure me of my tendencies that bring in internal conflicts, or the tendencies that as such are conflicting in nature, that brings the confusion within me, is what these 4 lines point to. So let's look into the verse little more in detail. So it begins with Buddhihina Tanu. The body is Buddhihina, is the body as it is lacks wisdom. Why do we want to remember this? Because we take great pride in ourselves, associating ourselves with this body. So we are first reminding ourselves, let us not do that. True worship is when we try to let go of the the identification we have unnecessarily with the body. So we are so identified with how I look, how I am, what all I have achieved through this body, and we hold on to it too tight. Not that we shouldn't do it, just that we shouldn't be bound by it. Because we need to remind ourselves the body as such is inert. That's why the term used in Sanskrit for a dead body is shava. Shava, a lifeless body. And Shiva, on the other hand, is the term used for the supreme being, Shava and Shiva. When Shiva is in Shava, we get our individual identity, the Jivatma and the Paramatma. The Jiva, the individual soul, gets an identity through this body. The body without Jiva is Shava. And the Jiva is nothing but infinitesimal part of Shiva, the supreme being. So Shava, Shiva, rhyming words. I guess they're rhyming with a meaning in account. So the body as such is impermanent in nature. We need to first understand that. That is the very first step of, or that's the very first step and the very last step of the path of devotion. We begin by recognizing that, we end by realizing that. So recognizing and realizing are two different things. So it is the self which makes the body special. It's the self which makes the body capable. So we first recognize the self within me. So that's why Janike, recognizing, understanding the self within me. So Buddhihina Tanu Janike. And then once you realize or recognize the self within ourselves, Sumira Pavanakumar, then we are in remembrance of Lord Hanuman. Let us be in remembrance of Lord Hanuman. Let us pray, call out to Lord Hanuman. And how do we worship Lord Hanuman? How do we pray to Lord Hanuman? What is the best way to pray to Lord Hanuman? Because Lord Hanuman, he himself is an exemplary personification of devotion. He's one of the best examples of how devotion should be. How do I worship such a being, such a deity, such a form? Because his devotion towards his Lord, Lord Rama, was unparalleled. He had taintless devotion towards Lord Rama. There is a verse in Sanskrit. There are many such verses known as Subhashitani or Subhashitam. Subhashita basically means Subhashita, words of higher meaning or words of wisdom. Subhashitam. So one of the Subhashitams which goes as Akritva Parasantapam Agatva Khalanamratam. It says Akritva. Do not do. Do not do what? Parasantapam. Do not do actions that would create sorrow for others. Do not create actions that would create a hurt feeling for others, or that would hurt others in whatever way. So do not be involved in that action. Agatva khalanamratam. Don't go towards what? Khalanamratam. Don't go towards a state wherein you become submissive to negativities. So one, don't do anything that would hurt others. Two, don't go towards a state wherein you become submissive to negativities. Three, anutsrajya satam vartma. Do not let go or do not abandon what? The path which is right in nature, the righteous path. Never abandon the right path. Yet swalpamapi tad bahu. Yet if these three things, swalpamapi, even if you put in a little effort, you do it a little bit, tad, that, bahu, is big enough. So even if we put in a small effort in these three things, it is big enough. And Lord Hanuman was very embodiment of this, who lived his devotion towards Lord Rama. It's not that his devotion was wherein he was always crazy about Lord Rama, which he was. That is a different side of his. But his devotion is sung glory of today because he lived his devotion. Every moment of his life was such that it became a worship to Lord Rama. Why? Because every moment, every thought, every word he spoke was meaningful in nature. It was such that it wouldn't hurt others. It was such that it was never subjugated by a negativity. It was such that he ever remained in the right path. That will be our true devotion towards our deity, because the deity doesn't need, someone is worth worshipping because they have reached a state that they don't need any worship. They don't want any worship from us. A Sadguru, a realized master, Amma, doesn't want us to worship her, doesn't make any difference to her. We worship a realized master so as to purify our thoughts, to reflect on what they inspire us with and try to imbibe that. That is what true worship is. And that's what this verse points out. Make your life clean. Make your life meaningful. That is true worship. So Sumiro Pavan Kumar is verily pointing to that. How do we worship Hanuman thereafter? By making our life such that we don't do actions that hurt others, that we don't let ourselves be subjugated to negativities or negative influence. We ever remain in the right path, and even a little of that is good enough. That will take us a long way. Perhaps that's the reason why Amma says, and it's a saying otherwise too, you take one step towards me, I'll take 100 steps towards you, or I'll take numerous steps towards you. Just to stress on this very point, even a little effort that you put in, the little effort is not the point here. What is important is your effort, the sincerity you have in your effort. That is most important. So when we put in sincere effort, even if it is little, definitely it will take us a long way. We take one step, the divine takes 100 steps towards us. That should be one way we could understand that phrase. You take one step towards me, I take 100 steps towards you. And Hanuman was the very example of living this, as I had mentioned. So when we worship Hanuman, the best way is to imbibe his qualities into our actions. That is the best worship we could do for Lord Hanuman. And I personally, for me, Lord Hanuman, like I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, how when I would be in a state of fear, Hanuman Chalisa, chanting it, would always give me some sense of strength, mental strength. And even otherwise, Lord Hanuman, if you ask me, you have a beloved deity, a favorite deity, I don't have any such in my mind. But Lord Hanuman has always been an inspiration for me, for how a good disciple I could be, for having a Mahatma like Amma in my life. So Lord Hanuman has always been that inspiration of how well could I be a good disciple. When I become a good disciple, I become beneficial for others, and through that beneficial for my own self. So Sumiro Pavanakumar, worshipping Lord Hanuman. Then comes Bal Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi. Dehu Mohi, give me what? Bal Buddhi Vidya. Vidya, both are okay. B or V are interchanged in Avadhi, like I had mentioned the last week. So Bal, strength, Buddhi, wisdom, Vidya, knowledge. Give me strength, give me wisdom, and give me knowledge. For facing any situation in our life, we need strength. Like Amma says, never try to escape a situation. That's never a solution for any given situation. Rather, face it the way it should be faced. And to face, we need strength. We need mental strength, and otherwise. We need mental strength primarily to face any given situation, not to give in and give up. Rather, even if you lose, that's fine. But that effort needs to be there wherein we face it with the right attitude. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. It goes as Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama payino nitya tam stitikshasva bharata. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, he's explaining Arjuna about the nature of life. He says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Through the senses, through our senses contact with the sense objects. My eyes see something, my nose smells something, my ears hear something, my skin touches something, my tongue tastes something. Through this experience, through this process, we experience two things in life. We experience what? Shita, Ushna. We have two kinds of experiences. What are they? Shita and Ushna, the opposites. See, Shita, feeling cold, Ushna, feeling hot. So hot, cold are experiences that we have when our sense object is in contact with, when our senses are in contact with sense objects. But we need to understand they are what? Sukha dukkhada. Some give us happiness, some give us sorrow. So let us be very understanding of that experiences we have in life are going to give us both happiness and sorrow. But we need to understand they are agama payina. They come, they go. They come, they go. That's the very nature of theirs. They are anitya. They are impermanent in nature. Any of these experiences, be it good or bad experience, they are impermanent in nature. So understand that all these experiences are impermanent in nature. Understanding that, tam stitikshasva bharata. You forbear it. You face it with the right attitude, O Arjuna. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, face every situation. Understand its impermanence and face it. When we encounter sorrow, we would prefer going around it, not encountering it. But if we understand even that shall pass, even that is impermanent in nature, we would have the strength to face that situation. So that is the strength we are talking about. Bal buddhi vidya. Give me strength. The very first thing. But just having strength alone isn't good enough, because strength without right understanding can sometimes give us trouble, right? When we have strength, the strength should be complemented with wisdom. When strength is used with wisdom, that's when it benefits us. And when we talk about wisdom, to understand wisdom in a very simple way, wisdom actually is what? Is to understand my abilities and my disabilities, and where to use my abilities and disabilities, when to use my abilities or disabilities, who to use it with, my disabilities and abilities, where to use it. So when, who, where, what, how to use my abilities and disabilities. That's what true wisdom is, to understand myself. To understand myself is true wisdom, to understand what my strengths are, what my shortcomings are. William Shakespeare happened to say, "The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool." So if we deceive our own self-telling, I look at only my strength, definitely that's a good thing, positive thing. But I refuse to look at my negativities at all, or even understand it, that may sometimes be a problem. So one who thinks I am only wise and wise and wise alone, we would be the biggest fool when we get into situations in life. Socrates, the great philosopher, he said, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing. Yet another Greek philosopher, Aristotle, he said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So we need to know our true self. That's why buddhi hina tanu janike. We were talking about the body as such is inert, because we need to know our true self. That's what devotion is about. It begins with recognizing it, ends with realizing it. And the whole process is the path of bhakti. So knowing our true self is the beginning of wisdom. When Lord Hanuman was asked to go to Lanka by Lord Rama as his messenger, to go and send a message to Sita Devi telling, I am on my way, we are here, we'll be there soon to rescue you. So he asks Lord Hanuman to go to Lanka. Back then there were no Air India or Air Lanka or none of those airplanes. So Lord Hanuman had to now see how would he cross across the Indian Ocean to go into the island kingdom of Lanka. So he's asked to jump or fly across that tiny strip between India and Sri Lanka of the Indian Ocean. He's like, I cannot do it. How can I do that? And it seems it was Jambavan, a bear figure or a bear character in Ramayana, who took up, he was a wise character in Ramayana. He reminded Hanuman of his abilities, lot many boons that he had acquired when he was little, lot many abilities that he had acquired through the devas, the various demigods when he was little. But when he was little, being a monkey, he was quite immature. So he had a curse telling, you will not be able to use your abilities, or you would not recognize your abilities until you mature up, until you develop wisdom. So now was the time wherein he matured up. Is there a problem with the audio? I see some messages. No? You're okay now? Okay. So Hanuman, so the curse was he will not remember his abilities and his strength, but for a wise being who would remind him of that at the right time. And this was the right time. He was reminded of all his abilities, and going across the small strip of Indian Ocean was nothing for the abilities that he had. So he was reminded of his abilities and he immediately could jump across the Indian Ocean, is how Ramayana goes. That strip between Lanka and the southern tip of India. So wisdom, the strength that we have, we need to recognize what my strengths are, is verily what we mentioned about what true wisdom is. And again, Hanuman's life shows an example wherein once we have the maturity, we realize our strengths, and with the same maturity we realize our shortcomings. That's when we would be able to exercise that wisdom and translate that into our action. And where do we get this wisdom? We get wisdom from knowledge. Knowledge, vidya, knowledge from the scriptures, from the teachings of your guru, your spiritual master, through their guidance, because a guru would guide through example rather than just words, mere words. So you take that inspiration, you grasp from that as knowledge, and that knowledge transforms into wisdom within you, because it becomes the very character that you develop. And your character would be such that it would be matured with that wisdom. And with that wisdom, when we recognize our strengths and our shortcomings, that becomes an action which would be meaningful in nature. I remember maybe about a couple of months ago, one of the satsangs from Amritapuri was given by a devotee from Singapore who happens to live in Amritapuri, who happened to live in Amritapuri throughout the pandemic and still is in Amritapuri. It was quite a candid satsang. I quite well remember that satsang because he was quite candid about his satsang. He was talking about how he was one of the street goons or street rowdy in Singapore. He was part of many of these gangs. He was a gangster, so to say. He would get involved in a lot of fights between gangs, and he was narrating few incidents in the satsang wherein he almost got killed. Once he didn't get killed in a fight between the gangs because he was wearing a Amma t-shirt, and the guy said, something tells me I should not hurt you, and just let's go of him. And he mentioned some other incident too. Anyway, he was completely involved in this gangster life. So to say, he had strength. He had mental strength and physical strength, so as to do whatever he wants in his life. But as his satsang was pointing out, or as he was pointing out in his satsang, he lacked wisdom. So his strength took him in complete wrong direction. And then when he met Amma, it took a little while for him to grasp Amma's magnanimity. But then when that wisdom started dawning within him, his complete attitude towards all his abilities changed. He's no more a gangster. He's in Amritapuri now, and you definitely cannot be a gangster in Amritapuri because the biggest gangster in Amritapuri is Amma, the spiritual gangster. You try to act smart, she'll take you to task. So don't take me in any wrong sense. Take it only in the humorous sense. But then, when I thought he was a good example for understanding Bala Buddhi Vidya. Just having strength is not good enough. That needs to be supplemented with wisdom, which we grasp through Vidya, from the scriptures, from the life of our Guru. And now his life is such that he's using all his strength to do all the seva, even the strong, the work that needs a lot of physical strength. He does all those sevas. Thereby he's benefiting the society, benefiting others, benefiting many who he doesn't know personally, and through that he's benefiting his own self. That's the beauty of it. When we do selfless act, it is not about benefiting others alone, it benefits our own self too. So when his strength was supplemented by wisdom that he got from Amma's teachings, the Vidya that he got from Amma, his life has transformed completely in a meaningful direction. So, Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kales Bikar. When I get the strength complemented with wisdom and knowledge, all the conflicts within me automatically will get annihilated. My mind would become clear. My mind would become pure. So that is the last line. Harahu Kales Bikar. The conflicts within me, or the tendencies of conflict, will just be destroyed or annihilated. So that was the second part of the Doha. Buddhihina tanu janike sumira pavan kumar bal buddhi vidya dehu mohi harahu kales bikar. Okay, so we'll move on to the next verse, which is the very first verse of the Hanuman Chalisa. It goes as Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar Jai kapis tihu lok ujagar. Let's pronounce it. We'll do it in 4 parts. Please respond after me once. Jai, like I mentioned, I'm just reminding you, the A in the end of a word in Sanskrit, we would pronounce it as a. Here we'll pronounce it as u. Just u, like bulk. B. No. Is like what is the word where you pronounce u? Huh? Book. Yeah, book. Book. Okay. So it's not Jaya, Hanumana, Jnana, Guna. It's Jai, Hanuman, Jnana, Guna, Sagar. Okay. So please respond after me. Jaya Hanuman. Jaya Hanuman. Jnana, I've spelled it as Gyana. Sanskrit, we would pronounce it as Jnana, like with the N with the tilt on top of it. In North India, typical Hindi influenced region, it is Gya. It is pronounced as Gya. So Jnana Guna Sagar. Jnana Guna Sagar. Jnana Guna Sagar. Jai Kapis. Jai Kapis. Jai Kapis. Oh, we are repeating only once. Sorry, habit. I am doing it twice. Tihu lok ujagar. Tihu lok ujagar. Jai Hanuman Jnana Gun Sagar. Jai Kapis Tihu lok ujagar. If you could repeat it once. Jai Hanuman Jnana Gun Sagar. Jai Kapis Tihu lok ujagar. So we begin with Jai Hanuman. I guess all of us know the meaning. We say Jai Bolo Sadguru Mata Amritanandamayi Devi Ki Jai. We say Jai Ganesh, or we say Jaya Hari. Similarly, Jaya Hanuman. Jaya means victory. Victory to Hanuman. Jai Hanuman. And who is Hanuman? He is Jnana Guna Sagar. Jnana, wisdom. Knowledge, wisdom. Guna, virtues, positive qualities. Sagar, he is an ocean. He is an ocean of virtues and wisdom. Jaya Kapis, victory to Kapis, the lord of monkeys. Tihu lok ujagar. Tihu, 3, lok, worlds. The 3 worlds, ujagar, one who enlightens, one who brings light into the 3 worlds, is what the first verse is about. So we begin with Jai Hanuman. Victory to Hanuman. How do we bring victory to Hanuman? Does Hanuman need victory? Hanuman is already in that ultimate state. He is worshipped as the divine. And what kind of victory does he need? The victory, when you say, we say, similarly, when we say Jai Bolo Sadguru Mata Amritanandamayi Devi Ki Jai, or Mata Rani Ki Jai, does Mata Rani, the Divine Mother, need victory? Or does Amma need victory? Does Lord Krishna need victory? They're already in that ultimate state. They don't need victory. When you say victory, it's about the Amma in me, the Hanuman in me, the Krishna in me. That needs to awaken. We are talking about that victory. And what does it mean? When you say Amma in me, I take an X-ray, I'll see Amma's image inside me. Amma in me are the very virtues that they represent, the qualities that they represent. Amma says we also have those qualities, just that we haven't kindled them, we haven't awakened them. We need to awaken those qualities. So when you say Jai, we are basically trying to shake, awake those qualities within us. That is the very idea of saying Jai. Jai, victory to those qualities that you represent, victory to those qualities in me. Let it awaken, let it come out, is why we call victory. So the best way to call out to victory to Lord Hanuman is that we live up to his example, that the example that he represents, the qualities, his virtues, his wisdom, all that Lord Hanuman represents. That is true victory of Hanuman. So Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar, one who is Sagar, ocean of Gyan and Gun, who's the ocean of wisdom and virtues. Hanuman, as we know, is the very embodiment of virtues. We're going to discuss various virtues, various great qualities of his in various episodes as they come as part of Hanuman Chalisa. So let's not really go into one by one each of those virtues. We'll go through it as we discuss Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman is the very embodiment of all these virtues. And these virtues, like I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, when Amma was talking about the devotion of the gopis, which was out of complete innocence, and devotion of Hanuman, which was innocence and wisdom. It was that made his devotion all the more inspiring and meaningful, is what Amma was once mentioning during a tour stop during the North American tour that I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago. So Lord Hanuman had that great sense of wisdom. Lord Hanuman, as he was little, he had this desire to learn, to acquire the ultimate knowledge from the best preceptor possible. And he was directed to who? The best preceptor, Surya Deva, the Lord, the sun god. He said you should learn from sun god, who is the Ivy League of that time. And to get into Ivy League is not simple. Surya Deva won't accept you as a disciple just like that. So Surya Deva said, I already have a lot of students. There is no space for you to sit here. How will I teach you? And it seems Hanuman quick-wittingly responded, telling, I'm not here to ask you for a space to sit. I am here to ask you for permission to learn. That's all what I am here for. Lord Surya tells Hanuman that I don't have space here because I have already so many students. I don't have space here for you. And Hanuman responds telling, I'm not here to ask for a space to sit. I am here to ask for permission to learn. And it seems Surya Deva was so impressed by Lord Hanuman's clarity in his thoughts and in his words. He said, you have all the signs to be an apt student because you have clarity. You're not here. You're not bothered about whether I have space, whether I have convenience, whether I'll have the conducive environment to learn. You're here only to learn. That's all what you have in your mind. You are a true student and I'll accept you as my student. And it seems learning from Lord Surya was not that easy a process because even by the very nature of Lord Surya, he's not static. He's constantly mobile. He's giving life force to the creation, to all the planets in the solar system, all the celestial bodies in the solar system. So you need to keep moving with him and learn. And it seems the legend goes as if Hanuman constantly flew across in orbit around Surya Deva, learning from him from every direction possible, it seems. So he had to exercise patience, he had to exercise understanding, he had to exercise perseverance, he had to work hard, he had to exercise acceptance, he had to exercise all these great qualities, learn these great qualities, exercise those great qualities so as to learn from Surya Deva, it seems. So both knowledge and virtue go hand in hand, just as an example from Lord Hanuman's life as he was a little monkey. So he learned from Surya Deva and his actions thereafter were ever grounded in that knowledge. And talking about Lord Hanuman's wisdom, we again, couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about Ramayana, Lord Rama's first meeting with Hanuman, Lord Rama walks into the kingdom of Kishkinta, the monkey kingdom, and Sugriva, who was the king in exile because Vali, his brother, forcefully took up the kingship, and he kept trying to kill Sugriva. And Hanuman was Sugriva's minister. So Sugriva, when he sees two abled warriors walking into their region, Sugriva used to hide in the Rishyamukha mountain. So when they saw Lord Rama and Lakshmana walk towards there, he thinks, I'm going to escape. I'm going to go away from here because they are here to kill me, assassinate me. And Lord Hanuman advises, he's an enabled minister. He says, let us first at least find out what are they here for. Why are we just giving in to the situation just like that and running away? And he gets instructed to disguise as an alms seeker and go to Lord Rama and Lakshmana. And Hanuman disguises like an alms seeker, and he goes and asks them, why are you here? He tries to find out some way or the other, why are they here? And Lord Rama, the very first glance at Lord Hanuman, like I had mentioned the other day, he realizes he is not just a normal being, a simple alms seeker. Similarly, when Hanuman sees Lord Rama from a distance, he realizes immediately this is not someone, an ordinary warrior. I have a deep connection with him. That's the way they met first. But it seems when Hanuman asked them, why are you here? Or some such, it seems Lord Rama's immediate comment to Lakshmana, as per Ramayana, was, this person's words are so full of clarity. His actions are so full of clarity. Like Surya Deva recognized the clarity in Hanuman, Rama also recognized the same clarity in him. He said, this is not just a simple alms seeker. He is a wise being. He is a great being. And it seems Lord Rama immediately asks him, who are you? You're definitely not who you seem to be. Reveal your true self to me. And Hanuman reveals his true self. He says, I am such and such. I'm here on behalf of Sugriva. And we discussed a couple of weeks ago how Lord Rama helped Sugriva again get back his kingship. So even when Lord Rama first saw Hanuman, it was about that clarity in him, the clarity in his words. As simple as that, he could recognize the wisdom that Lord Hanuman represented. I'm sure we all have experienced this in our life, either with our own self or people around us. Words are the primary mode of communication we always use, right? And what we speak, how we speak, who do we speak to, where we speak, when we speak, is very important. That makes the experience pleasant or otherwise, right? If someone speaks not being aware of what, when, where, who, why, it becomes an unpleasant experience. When someone speaks out of the awareness of what, when, who, where, why, who, or what, when, where, who, why, that experience becomes pleasant. I remember one of the satsangs, there were a couple of devotees, very dedicated, always doing a lot of seva. And in one meeting, satsang meeting, they happened to have a difference of opinion during that meeting. And they were discussing about, this is how it should be done. Someone had said, this is how it should be done. And it seems one of the satsang member told the other, don't be childish. Don't act like a child. Act a little matured. And that kind of completely, affected the other person negatively. And I understand the other person carries that in his mind even now, in his heart. just a simple comment telling, don't act childish. And I'm not here to judge whether he acted childish or not. Maybe he did act childish. But I would say, if I was in the other person's side, not that I'm able to exercise it all the time, but I would at least think, let us not judge whether the other person is childish or not. That is secondary. My primary concern with my spiritual growth is, was I able to speak wisely in that moment? Was what I spoke at that moment fruitful, meaningful? If not, I need to contemplate. Whether he was childish or not is his headache. It's not my headache. What I spoke, was it right? Was it considering who, where, when, how, why? Did I do that? Is what my focus would be personally for my spiritual growth. There is a text called Manusmriti. Manusmriti, the great Emperor Manu put forth a lot of do's and don'ts so as to have a meaningful life. Some of them apply to today's life, some of them have to, to evolve given today's life. But then one of these verses there goes as, Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na bruyat satyam apriyam, priyam chanandritam bruyat, esha dharma sanatana. The verse says, Satyam bruyat, speak that which is truth. Priyam bruyat, speak that which is sweet. So speak the truth, speak that which is sweet. Na bruyat, don't speak satyam apriyam. Try not speaking truth which is not pleasant in nature. Avoid doing that. So maybe when he said you are childish, maybe it was true. But, or it may not be true either, but it doesn't fit into this equation. Na bruyat satyam apriyam. You needn't speak truth which is, you needn't speak the truth which is unpleasant in nature. You can always present it in a different way. And then the second part says, Priyam chana anritam bruyat. Even that which is sweet in nature but untrue, even that you should avoid. Priyam chana anritam bruyat, esha dharma sanatana. This is the eternal rule. This will apply in every phase of life, every phase of creation, every period of creation. So speak truth, speak sweet words. Try avoiding speaking truth which is not pleasant in nature, and try avoiding untruth which is pleasing in nature. Just unnecessarily going and praising someone, or unnecessarily going and putting someone down. We should see how can it be better done rather than just doing it without thinking about it. That's where wisdom plays a role. So what we speak, and Lord Hanuman represented that, what he speak immediately gave Lord Rama the idea he is not a normal being. He is a being with true wisdom. I know certain people who I know them personally, and over a period of time I understand the goodness in them, lot of great qualities in them. But it happens that many people just don't prefer being around them. They're not comfortable around them. And the primary cause is their tongue. What they speak, how they speak, where they speak, when they speak, to who they speak is not out of wisdom. And though it may bring in a feeling that I'm so uncomfortable, this is not a nice person to be around, I understand when you look at it from a different perspective, they do have a lot of goodness. But that goodness becomes of no use if we are not able to exercise wisdom in the primary mode of communication that we have, speaking. So the distance between the brain and the mouth, or the time between the brain and the mouth, should be such that there is a filtration of wisdom. What comes from your brain goes out of the mouth without the filtration of wisdom, it is not a pleasant experience. When it goes from the brain to the mouth through the process of filtration of through wisdom, that becomes meaningful and helpful in nature. So we just discussed, I'm just reiterating that wisdom is to know what my abilities and disabilities are. Understanding them, we understand, so we decide what to say, when to say, to who to say, how to say, and where, what setup we say that. That is very important. A boxer is wise when he uses all his strength, all his ability, boxing abilities inside a boxing ring, right? Because what he does, how he does, when he does, where he does, to who he does, it satisfies all that. But the same boxer tries to use all these abilities in a courtroom with a judge. It's not going to help him, it's not going to help anyone else. He'll end up being in a jail. Or he tries, he's in the wild in a forest and he has a hungry lion in front of him. He goes with his boxing abilities trying to do boxing with the lion, he'll end up getting killed. In that moment, he needs to understand what his shortcomings are and what are the ways he needs to do to protect himself from the lion. Protecting yourself from a wild animal reminds me of how two friends were in the wild, in the forest, and they come across a hungry cheetah. And it is kind of an imperative, it is kind of very clear that the cheetah is going to attack them because the cheetah is hungry. And the two friends discuss amongst themselves, what do we do? And he says, I'm going to run. And the second friend asks, you're going to run? You're sure you're going to outrun the cheetah? He says, I don't know whether I have the ability to outrun the cheetah, but I know I have the ability to outrun you. So I'm going to be safe. You will be the one getting killed. So he analyzes what my strengths are, who are the other people there. Not the best example, but still an example for us to think. He analyzes what my strengths are, what my shortcomings are, what his strengths are, what his shortcomings are, what the strengths of the cheetah and the cheetah shortcomings are. Where am I? How am I? Who am I? Or who the others are. Understanding all that, he says, I'm going to run. I'm going to be safe because I know you are the one who's going to get killed in case we get chased. So, Lord Hanuman was an embodiment of knowledge and virtues. He had all the great virtues which we are going to discuss. We didn't go too much into virtues per se, but we were just discussing about knowledge and wisdom. The knowledge that he gained through Surya Deva and the wisdom that he developed, and he complemented those to exercise his great qualities. And that's what makes Hanuman Hanuman, makes Hanuman an inspiring figure for all of us. So Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar. And then we have Jai Kapi Siti Hu Lok Ujagar. We'll look at that the next week. It's 8:30. So we'll move on to singing the Hanuman Chalisa. Give us a few minutes. We set up the mic and then we'll move on to chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. Om Amriteshwariyai Namah. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधारि। बरना रघुबर बिमल जसु, जो दायक फल चारि। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके, सुमिरा पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि, हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारी, रामचंद्र के काज सवारी। लाय संजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बढ़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावै, हस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहीसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, स्वर भय सब जग जाना। दुख सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि, जलधि लांघि गए अचर जनाहि। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत पीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है परिसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहा रघुपति के दासा। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय। और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटै मिटै सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंधि महासुख होय। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। ओ माता सीता की जय, ओ माता सीता की जय। ओ भ्राता लक्ष्मण की जय, ओ भ्राता लक्ष्मण की जय। भरत और शत्रुघ्न की जय, भरत और शत्रुघ्न की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान Maheshwari Namah. Let us conclude praying to the Almighty that every being in the creation be happy, content and peaceful. Let us chant the Shanti mantras together 3 times. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.